What's up, fam? Coach Cam. In this video, we're going to be discussing why you may not be making gains, right? And what's going on with that? Why are you not making the gains that you could be and that you should be? So to start off, most people have an incorrect objective of exercise. Most people, when they sit down or stand up to do an exercise at the gym, they're focused on moving weight from point A to point B and doing it for 8 times or 10 times or 12 times. And then setting it down. This is not the proper mindset or the proper objective. So the proper objective is to deeply fatigue your muscles in as minimal time as possible and as minimal amount of work as possible, right? So in order to achieve this, you want to sit down, grab the weights, and you want to contract your muscles against resistance. Remember, the exercise is merely a guide. It's merely helping you contract your muscles better, right, than if you were to just stand there and do it with no weight at all. So the resistance is there to help you contract your muscles harder. And as the set continues, approaching muscle failure, you are contracting your muscles harder and harder and harder until you have nothing left to give. You can no longer hold the weight up or continue the exercise, and it's time to set it down. It's time for the exercise to end. So you need to train like this if you want the best possible results. Yeah, most people, or a lot of people I should say, are able to just move weight from point A to point B, show up most days of the week, and they get decent results, right? Well, if you clicked on this video, you're wanting something more, right? You're wanting some insight into how to make the training more effective, and maybe you're struggling to put on size. So that's why I'm giving you these tips. If you could get away with just moving weight from point A to point B and mindlessly, then you wouldn't be struggling enough to need a video like this, right? People like that avoid this topic altogether because they don't understand why you would be struggling, because to them it's easy to put on muscle. But for me and for a lot of us, it's not easy. You need to actually focus and let that be your goal, right? So for many years, I performed a lot of pull-ups, dips, push-ups, rows. I was like a calisthenics only type dude, and that hindered my muscle growth. It got me good at those movements, and while those are movements that can and should build a lot of muscle mass and strength, for me, I was building essentially strength without muscle mass because I was not letting my muscles be exposed to the tension. I was performing the reps very quickly, and that brings me to my second point. Stop performing repetitions so quickly. And usually, this is coupled with using a lot of weight. So people will use a lot of weight and perform the repetitions quickly. They kind of go hand in hand because you can't really use heavy weight and move slowly, because then the exercise is going to end in like 2 reps and you're not going to really get the most stimulus out of that either. So you want a moderate weight, right? And you want to move the weight with control. And during the exercise, you want to be contracting the target muscles the entire time, intensely, right? So when you're performing pull-ups, as when I do, I contract my back muscles as hard as I possibly can the entire set, right? And with how strong I am at pull-ups, I have to use a moderate weight. So I use about a 25-pound plate. I can do this with body weight, but I prefer closer to about a 25-pound weight, and I'll get maybe 6 reps or so. It doesn't matter how many reps, it matters about the quality of those reps and how intense of a stimulus you got from those reps, right? You could do 20 reps, but if you're just banging them out like nobody's business and it's not difficult at all, you're not getting a lot of stimulus out of that. You could do 3 sets of 20, right? And then that person has a lot of volume, but still no stimulus. So your goal is not volume. The amount of volume you do does not determine the stimulus, especially when the first several sets are easy and the first several reps of most exercises are already easy, right? That's already a warm-up, essentially the first few reps of every exercise. So ideally, you will pick a moderate weight and you will contract the target muscles, just like you would if you were doing bicep curls, right? You would squeeze your biceps as hard as you can when you're doing preacher curls, cable curls, because you're trying to stimulate that muscle as intensely as possible and deeply, deeply fatigue it. Take that same logic, apply it to every muscle of your body. So apply that to tricep pushdowns, push-ups, dips, rows, overhead press, any, squat, deadlift, any of these movements. Now, I'll say personally with deadlift, I do Romanian deadlifts. I'm not really doing that. I'm kind of just going through the motions on deadlift. So I could slow down more. I could probably get more out of less weight, but I'm choosing to kind of lift heavier. I'm doing around sets of 8 with deadlifts, but that's fine. I mean, if you're happy with what you're doing, then keep doing it. But this video is for people who are struggling and or not happy with their results and want to know what could they be doing differently. What can they try to eke out some more gains and get more stimulus on your muscles? If you do this, right, if you slow down your exercises, slow down your repetitions, change direction slowly with good form, and do, sets that take around a minute until you are completely cooked and fatigued and have to stop. Trust me, this is way more beneficial than just doing 5 sets of about 15 seconds each set, just repping out 10 reps and then stopping. Your muscle doesn't care how many reps you did. It doesn't care how fast you did them. What matters is the mechanical tension, right? Are you delivering mechanical tension to your muscles? And are you pushing those muscles as hard as possible? Or do you just stop when it feels kind of uncomfortable and you don't really want to be doing this anymore and you wish you could go home and all these excuses, right? No, you need to fight. You need to tune out those excuses and push the muscle as intensely as possible. And this will yield a high stimulus, and this will get you headed in the right direction. It will take you a few workouts at least, if not months, to practice training your muscles as hard as possible. It's not super easy to pick this up. And if you need help doing this or want to see what it looks like, you can watch any of my shorts on YouTube, any of my full workout videos, and you will see clips of me training, and it'll help you understand what it looks like to reach muscle failure. So ideally, muscle failure will be reached when you are in an isometric contraction. So you've been contracting your muscles for, around 60 seconds. There's no definite mark. I'm not telling you anything too specifically. It could be 45 seconds, it could be a minute and a half. What matters is that you went to failure, that you gave it your all. And I know it's controversial, right? Oh, like failure's like super, super intense and so fatiguing and you just can't really do that. No, you can. If you do it once, if you do it properly one time with one set and then move on. Don't keep doing it over and over and over, because what happens there is you're just re-stimulating all of the same muscle fibers. You're not stimulating anything new. For example, right? Say you did dumbbell bench press, you did 10 reps to failure. Your second set, you rest like 2-3 minutes, however many minutes you want, and then you go again and you only get 8 reps. Why did you not do 10? Why couldn't you do 10? Because you were fatigued, right? Why? What does that mean, you were fatigued? Well, what that actually means is you had type 2 heavy-duty muscle fibers and motor units that could not come into play to help you on that second set. They were still fatigued from the first set. They could not show up. They could not be recruited, right? They were not recruited. They were not stimulated because you could not activate them because they're still fatigued, right? That's what it means. That's what happens. So that begs the question, was that second set as stimulating as the first? No, it was less stimulating. You were not able to recruit all of the muscle fibers. And if you left reps in reserve on the first set, then you just did the same thing. You just started with the set that didn't recruit everything, and then you slowly tried to recruit more. Say you did 3 sets of 10. On your third set, you went to failure. Well, okay, you went to failure. You probably recruited more muscle fibers than the first and second set. However, how do you know if you actually got all the muscle fibers recruited, because you may not have. Because those fibers will have been fatigued by that point. So they may have been fatigued and not recruited, but you still got 10 reps. So it's kind of tricky, but you want to just push yourself as hard as you can the first time, and then you don't have to worry about your second, third, fourth sets. I might do 2 exercises in a workout for a given muscle group, but I'm not doing 2 sets on the same one. The only exercise I even have done 2 sets on the same exercise is quad extensions, because I feel like that's an exercise that you can't really replicate doing anything else. It's an awesome exercise that I don't have anything that even comes close to that in my garage gym. So with limited equipment, sure, you could make a case for maybe going for a second set. When I do, I don't get as many reps, and it's probably not even worth doing it. So I don't do that all the time. But anyway, you get the gist of what I'm saying. Contract your muscles as hard as possible, and to failure, to get the most stimulus. Now, another major point that I want to bring up is making sure your exercise selection is dialed in, bro. You're not just picking exercises that other people are doing or that you're seeing on the internet. You need to actually experiment, try different exercises, but when you find the ones that you connect with the most, that you like the most, and that actually address the function of the muscle, and you can grind reps, you got yourself a winner. You need to keep that exercise at all costs, right? So maybe the pec deck isn't really your favorite thing. Maybe you feel it in your biceps or something like that. It's not working for you. That's fine. Maybe Smith machine incline bench. Maybe you connect better with that. Or dumbbell bench press or push-ups, right? Weighted push-ups. I connect really well with weighted push-ups. And that's been a staple in my plan. Also weighted dips, right? So I find exercises that I can push myself very hard. I can grind out reps and get the most bang for my buck. So you need to do the same thing. If there's exercises you can't keep doing because it's unstable, you get shaky, you have to stop, your core gives out, other muscle groups give out, then maybe it's not the best one for you to pick for that muscle group to try to build it, right? So it's like you got to be smart with it, and you got to be skilled at what you're doing, right? So if, for example, for me, I can do ring dips. I haven't done them in a while, but I could do them. However, even myself being someone who is experienced with rings, it's still challenging to have the stability required to actually push the chest, shoulders, and triceps to failure. So I don't do those very much anymore. I picked more stable, like using an actual dip bars, pull-up bar, stuff like that, where it's more stable. I can push myself harder. But you need to keep the exercises in your plan for a long time. I'm talking like months on end, and really work to grind out more reps. Keep the same form. Don't be changing your form, and push yourself hard. I don't care if you don't make progress this week. Try to make progress next week. Try to make sure that your muscles are being cooked beyond belief in just one single set of around 60 seconds of work, right? That's all you need to do to get the most stimulus. And then I think lastly, I'll go ahead and just address diet, right? So should you be in a calorie surplus? You could be. Even if you're eating at maintenance though, if your workouts are extremely dialed in like I'm talking about, you won't have to eat in a calorie surplus. You will still be gaining small amounts of muscle mass even while eating at maintenance. Deficit, maybe. I think mostly during the deficit, you're revealing a lot of the muscle mass you've already built. However, you could build some muscle in a deficit, provided you add in all of these cues and tips that I've put into this video. You very well could be building muscle even while in a deficit. So remember, train each muscle as hard as you possibly can, training to failure, and then picking the best exercises for each muscle. Slow down your repetitions. Focus on contracting the muscle the entire time. Don't worry about how much weight you're using or how many reps you actually got. Film your workouts and you can just count the reps later. I'm telling you right now, your muscles will be cooked and you will be getting an insane stimulus. You will be very sore the first time you try this. I still get sore from time to time in different muscle groups, but ideally this is what you would do to build more muscle. If you are struggling to build muscle like me, if your genetics are making it difficult for you to be huge, you need everything dialed in into your favor. And these are some tips and tricks that I would recommend to try if you've never tried them before. It's been a game changer for me. So anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching the video. Go ahead and like the video. Please leave a comment down below. What did you learn? Have you ever done this before? Has it helped you? And then go ahead and share this video with a friend. I'll see you guys in the next one.